Have you ever looked at the trending recordings or the magic of Disney playlist in the Smule app and wonder how you get your recording there? Well, there's several types of lists and different ways to get on each one. I'm going to try and cover the basics, but be aware that some regions have different lists. So I'm only going to cover the ones I see here in the United States, and not all of them may be viewable in other countries. First things first. Smule recording lists found on the Explore area of Smule, like the Smule Challenges or other playlists, are mostly driven by hashtags. The exceptions to this is the recommended for you and the trending recording lists. Those are run completely by algorithms, whether or not they have hashtags. If you'd like to learn more about hashtags and why and how they're used on Smule as a general overview, check out the last tutorial video I posted. It's all about hashtags, and you may find it useful. For this video, however, I'm just going to go through the playlists found on the Explore tab and how to try and get your recordings on them. Lists on the Explore tab. Currently, the top row in the Explore area of the website or the Smule app is the artist invites. These are open invites created by Smule that you can join artists on. It's not a list of finished recorded songs like the rest of the rows and/or lists. The second row, however, is recommended for you. From what I know about this row, it's custom to each user, and even different on each device. Just moments ago, I looked on 3 devices, logged in as the same user, and all 3 devices had different recommendations. This list seems to be populated by a Smule algorithm, and does not use hashtags in any way, so you don't need to use a hashtag to get on it. The third row is trending recordings. Note that this list can show different recordings regionally, so songs that may be trending in the United States may not be trending in Australia. However, songs can also trend globally and be shown everywhere. Although we don't know exactly what triggers the algorithm to highlight a song, I do know that me and a couple friends did see a pattern in trending recordings over a year ago, and back then, on Duets, if several people viewed and loved a recording within a couple minutes' time, and one of those people also commented, it would trigger the song to show. But the results were delayed and they wouldn't show for about 2 hours. Trending songs showed for about 2 hours and then rotated to others. In addition, the location of where the song trended was based on the location of the users who listened, loved, and commented on the song. We never saw a pattern on group songs, however. Regardless, this is something we just observed at that time. We really don't have any official insight into Smule's algorithms, and it's very possible they change the algorithms on occasion to keep everyone guessing anyway. But for this list, no hashtags are required, and it is driven completely by a Smule algorithm. However, this does bring up something else. Smule trending tip. If a user loves a song that is private, the algorithms don't see or register them because they're private. The only thing liking a song that is private does is show others invited to the song and/or others who are in it that you loved or liked it. But if you want to try to get a song to trend, it's best to wait until it's public, then hit the heart button. In fact, in some groups, it's a rule not to hit that heart button until the song has been public and/or shared. And for those unsure, it's my understanding that a love or like are both referring to hitting the heart button. So a like, love, or heart is all referring to the same thing, and any of those terms are interchangeable. The next row is sing together. This list, I believe, could be a never-ending rabbit hole of scrolling, but new ones, usually around 20 or so, are added about every 2 weeks to the existing list. I don't know if there's official documentation or written rules for this list, but I've never seen any group songs on that list, and in order for a recording to be considered for this list, you must use the Sing Together hashtag. So, for Sing Together, use the Sing Together hashtag. The next several playlists, rock, pop, R&B, and stage and screen, don't use hashtags at all either, but I believe they're also driven by a Smule algorithm. And as far as I'm aware, we don't have much insight into those lists either. The Smule Challenges list is a list that is curated, chosen from all the recordings with the Smule Challenge hashtag. This hashtag changes every 2 weeks. But if you miss the pop-up explaining the theme and the possible other prizes you could win, you could always find out more on the songbook section of the app and clicking on the challenge slider at the top of the screen. I can't tell you what the hashtags are because they change, but it usually has the word challenge in it, which is usually at the end of the hashtag. Some past examples are Pride Challenge, Soundtrack Challenge, Guilty Pleasure Challenge, Love Song Challenge. The deadline for the hashtags to be added to your recordings for the Smule Challenges are every other Tuesday around 11 o'clock Pacific Daylight Time. Check the info page for which Tuesday the deadline will be. The same info can also be found on the Smule blog and social media accounts. So for the Smule Challenges, they do rely on hashtags. Now the Singtopia Picks is a list that is curated and picked by the Singtopia admin group. It was discussed a bit more in the previous video on hashtags, so you may want to watch that video if you haven't already. Suffice it to say, this list is hand-picked. But to be on it, you must use the proper Singtopia hashtags, and it's best to submit the songs you'd like to be considered on the Facebook announcement thread. Although you can also just hashtag your songs and share them in the app and social media accounts. The theme, and also the hashtags needed, changes every 2 weeks. So check the Facebook Singtopia community announcement or the Singtopia Instagram announcement for the deadline details. But they are usually on a Thursday around noon Pacific Standard Time, unlike the Smule Challenges that fall on Tuesdays in the evening. So for the Singtopia Picks, they do need hashtags, and they are picked by people. The Magic of Disney list is a list that is also curated and picked by the Singtopia admin group. Similar to the Singtopia Picks, the best way to submit songs for consideration is on the Singtopia community Facebook announcement. Although you can also just hashtag your best songs and share them in the app and social media accounts as well. The hashtag that is used for songs to be considered for the Magic of Disney playlist is Magic of Disney. Unlike the Singtopia Pick or the Smule Challenge list, which changes every 2 weeks, the Magic of Disney list changes every couple months, usually around 4 times a year. So the songs that appear there will be there for a longer period of time. As a side note, I've heard that this list isn't always viewable outside of the United States. But for the Magic of Disney list, it is picked by the Singtopia admin group and hashtags are used. And lastly, the last playlist shown currently on the Explore area of the app, at least for me in the United States, is the Duet of the Week list. Unlike the Smule Challenges, only one duet is featured per week. You can find more information on the Smule blog found at blog.smule.com. But suffice it to say, in order for your recordings to be considered, you must have the hashtag Duet of the Week in your recording description. A new Duet of the Week will be announced and shown each Monday within the app and Smule's social media accounts. So for the Duet of the Week, hashtags are required. So there you have it. As a quick recap, here's a list of playlists, whether or not they require hashtags, and how often the list changes. There's a good rundown of what we know about the different lists on the Explore tab and how you can try and get on each one of them. As mentioned earlier, I only went over the ones I see in the United States, but I'd love to hear about what other lists you may see and where you're located and how you get on those lists, if you know. Otherwise, if I missed something, if you have a question in regards to various lists, or you even have a suggestion for a topic of an upcoming video, I'd love it if you put them in the comments below. If it's a question and it's related, I'll do my best to answer it. If you found the video useful and you think others may benefit from it, feel free to share it and then hit that like button so YouTube can share it to others who may also find it useful. Now, I didn't go much into hashtags in this video, but if you'd like to learn more about hashtags and other ways they are used on Smule, check out my last video, Hashtags on Smule. I'll link it in the description. And lastly, if you want to see more tutorials like this in the future, hit the red subscribe button below. Then if you want to be notified when the next tutorial is published, hit the little bell icon next to it. As always, happy smuling!